Guys, Jordan Peterson has lost it.
The dietary recommendation to prioritize carbohydrates produced a veritable epidemic of obesity and diabetes, resulting in what has been deemed by reliable researchers as one of the worst public health disasters of all time.
Blaming the government nutrient recommendations for obesity epidemic is like being scared of sharks when you don't know how to swim. You're dealing with the wrong issue.
Almost the entire Western population to a lifetime of catastrophic chronic health problems. Remember what happened the last time that government agencies applied their tender mercy to determining what the people they serve should consume? We were offered the much vaunted food pyramid, telling us to eat 6 to 11 servings of grains and carbohydrates a day.
Such a tiny percentage of the population actually adheres to the government food regulations. I mean, think about it for yourself. When was the last time you were hungry and you went, you know what? What does the food pyramid say that I should eat next? It just doesn't happen.
Don't go to a dietitian unless you want to follow the food pyramid and get fat.
And so let's break this down into a few really easy ways of just seeing through this as BS. Right, first of all, I should say, I'm a big fan of Jordan Peterson. I've read his book, and I like that most of his philosophy boils down to some variation of take responsibility for your actions.
We're toying with. I don't mean us. Yeah. Well, us too. That's for sure. But things are shaky at the moment on many fronts, and we have this opportunity in front of us, all of us, to have a very abundant world, right, where everyone has enough, and we're retreating into our corners in some real sense, and we're not addressing the elephants under the carpet, and you can't do that. Like the things we're discussing contentiously now. You know, they make for rough conversations, but they make for a lot rougher streets if you don't talk them out.
But that doesn't mean, and I hate when people I like get their ego so inflated that they feel like they're qualified to speak in areas outside of their area of expertise.
Just ate meat. Yeah. I only ate meat for a whole month.
My fear is that we've assumed that plants are good for us. And we see everything with these plant compounds through the lens of these are good for us. How can we prove they're good for us? There's a whole different part of the story. What if we think about it from a plant's perspective?
But moving back to the subject at hand, let's break this down, right? Let's look first at anecdote, right? The easiest form of evidence is basically the fact that every single bodybuilder who's ever achieved, the absolute end ranges of human body composition, the leanest possible outcome with the most possible muscle, almost all of them have done that on a really high carb diet.
The greatest feeling you can get in a gym, or the most satisfying feeling you can get in the gym, is the pump. It's as satisfying to me as coming is, as having sex with a woman and coming. So I'm coming day and night. I mean, it's terrific, right? So, I'm in heaven.
Now, we shouldn't be looking at this and going, well, Arnold Schwarzenegger is the healthiest person to ever live. But at the same time, bodybuilders consistently demonstrate the ability to lose massive amounts of fat on very, very high carb diets.
The main thing is the food. The food is what really builds the body to look like that. Every 2 hours, I was eating food. Every 2 hours on the clock for 20 years, like a machine.
Whole grains and carbs probably aren't going to be the problem. And we have studies that do this all the time. We have studies showing high carb and low carb intake in weight loss. We know for a fact that high carb can still be relevant in weight loss, and we're just asking the question of, is one better than the other? It's not a question of, do carbs make you fat? Because that has been aggressively disproven. We're past that. So we're dealt with a few different problems of trying to actually boil down what Dr. Peterson is trying to get at here. And is it the fact that it's whole grains are the problem? Is it the fact that it's the government regulations that are the problem?
That all turned out to be wrong. And not just a little wrong, but so wrong that it might as well have been not just wrong, but a veritable anti-truth. Something as wrong as it could possibly get.
Is it the fact that too many people are adhering to the government regulations? Because that's not a problem. Is it the fact that too many of our calories are coming from sugar? I just don't understand what angle he's trying to come across here, because the fundamental basis of his argument has been so thoroughly disproven that hopefully it's not even a real conversation anymore. But here we are, so apparently it is. And finally, there's a lot of people in the comments saying things like, you know, this isn't what he really believes. He's just doing it to promote this diet that his daughter is involved with. And that is actually a bigger problem to me. Like, would we prefer someone, an quote unquote intellectual like Jordan Peterson, doing something wrong that he genuinely believes is correct? Or is he actually saying something that he doesn't believe in to blatantly promote something that his daughter is involved with, putting his morals aside to lie and promote something that his family has a stake in? I don't know which one would be more disappointing.
Don't go to a dietitian unless you want to follow the food pyramid and get fat. Like, what do dietitians teach people? To follow the food pyramid, which has just made everybody in America fat.
But hopefully this is the last nutritional foray we see from Dr. Peterson. I don't think it will be. Let me know what you think, and let's get into it in the comments. Hey guys, real quick. I was trying to use real world examples in this video because that's what people relate to the most. That's what the average person can see in their day-to-day, you know, the reasons why this doesn't make sense. But I also obviously use scientific method and papers and digging into the actual academic research really heavily when I'm preparing for these videos. So I was putting some of that together, but then I came across Ben Carpenter's response to this video, and honestly, the guy's a wizard and he's done a lot of the heavy lifting on this. So I'm just gonna play you his video for those of you that are interested in what the science actually says about this. So I hope you enjoy. And if you do, make sure you hit that like and follow button because it helps me in the algorithm. And I love digging into this conversation and helping trying to move this conversation forward. That's all. I'll see you in the next one.
The dietary recommendation to prioritize carbohydrates produced a veritable epidemic of obesity and diabetes, resulting in what has been deemed by reliable researchers as one of the worst public health disasters of all time.
Whether you like him or not, Jordan Peterson is a very intelligent human being. And given the divisive nature of his enormous online popularity, some of you already hate me for replying to this video with a rebuttal. But you know the scientific rule. Put the bias aside, address the argument, and don't attack the person. Saying the dietary recommendations produced an epidemic of obesity is a very common claim, especially in low-carb and ketogenic diet groups, where it sometimes verges on conspiracy theory level zealotry. When someone says produced, it implies causation. Have obesity rates increased? Yes. Using America as a neat example, you can see body weight significantly trending upwards across all age groups starting in the 1970s. So did the dietary guidelines cause this? Well, the USDA have issued dietary recommendations for the last 120 years, starting in 1894. And the dietary guidelines for Americans change every 5 years. But if we go back to the dietary goals for the United States published in 1977, here's the type of thing you'll see. To avoid weight gain, don't consume more calories than you expend. Increase complex carbohydrates from fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Reduce refined sugars and overall fat consumption down to 30% of calorie intake. To say these produced an obesity epidemic, you need to show causation, and the evidence just doesn't show that. Some estimates show that nearly the entire US population doesn't meet dietary guidelines. The average diet is comprised of nearly 70% ultra-processed foods. Only 1 in 10 adults consume enough fruits and vegetables, especially an issue for those living in poverty. There are actual research trials that test whether the dietary guidelines work. And when people follow the dietary guidelines, they tend to lose weight and improve their health. There are many factors that likely combine together that make it harder for you to regulate your weight today than ever before, such as a growing number of ultra-processed, high-calorie, hyper-palatable foods that are cheaper to buy and more convenient for you to eat than ever. More delicious fast food restaurants and food delivery services. More desk jobs, transport options, and sedentary lifestyles. You can't really prove every single factor that causes an entire population to slowly gain weight. But when you are facing complex, multifaceted issues, it's very easy to dismiss overly simplified theories. Pointing the finger at nutrition guidelines is misleading at best and demonstrably false at worst.
I am only now seeing the page for the lion diet. Just when I thought that the carnivore diet couldn't get any more needlessly restrictive, was I wrong? How to take part in Halloween on the lion diet. Trade a kid a toy for their candy. Negotiate with terrorists. This screams eating disorder. Any diet where their advice to you is stay strong means that it's cutting out a bunch of shit for probably no reason. How to order when eating out. Oh my goodness. I would hate to be in the hospitality industry now or in a few years from now. The lion diet is an elimination diet that includes only ruminant animals such as beef and lamb, salt and water. Plant-free ketogenic diet. We're just really throwing all nutritional science out the window with this one. Sometimes foods like dairy, smaller animals like chicken, pork, seafood, etc., and eggs hinder healing. That's a really big claim. And we're also throwing seafood out the window. Seafood's got to go. Seafood hinders healing. We all know that. This is a lot. I'm gonna need to take some time to recover from this. Pigs are too small of an animal, so it can hinder your healing, but lamb is fine. Huh, interesting. I don't know if they've compared a pig to a lamb recently. Almost like these rules are completely made up with absolutely no scientific basis behind them.
Okay, so this carnivore literally just had steak all day long, I think with some butter, some salt, maybe a bit of cheese in there, and then maybe some milk. Not sure how you wouldn't get bored of that. I think an occasional beef meal is fine, but this is not a sustainable diet. Definitely not for the environment, but also not great for your health. Folks, variety's the spice of life.
I've been doing the carnivore diet since December 2017. It's 100% sustainable, and most people on it aren't on it for fun. Yeah, variety is the spice of life, not if it causes you autoimmunity or severe depression. Then variety is not the spice of life. And everyone who's commenting on the carnivore diet, I would like them to try it for 3 months before being the dietitian versus carnivore. Like, what do dietitians teach people? To follow the food pyramid, which has just made everybody in America fat? Don't go to a dietitian unless you want to follow the food pyramid and get fat.